The Muffin's just gonna die. No, it's not! Oh my god, chat. That is, in fact, the weirdest thing I've ever seen in this game. We got a Clinico to heal a Muffin. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. It feels like it's been forever since I actually got on stream. Or it could actually only be a few hours, because we were, of course, playing out the top 8 of Fright Night 6 just a few hours ago. We do have a new champion, but no spoilers here. I'm sure we'll spoil it at some point. But check out those other videos if you want to see some of the best players in the game go toe-to-toe with all the Phobies set to level 1. We saw some amazing plays from a variety of players that are pretty much always at the top of the ladders, as well as a few upsets. There were some exciting games, and I had a lot of fun watching, and hopefully everybody will too, but you'll have to check out that video later. For now, we're going to jump into some viewer-submitted games and see what we have in store. Quick aside, everybody, before we get into the actual content, I was accepted into the Phobies Content Affiliate Program, the content creator program, you might call it. Shout out to the Phobies team, and thank you for that. But the reason I'm telling you, everybody out there, dear viewer, dear listener, is to let everybody know that I do receive some compensation from the Phobies team as a result of being part of that program. Now, I loved Phobies before, and I still love Phobies now, and I expect I will still continue to love Phobies in the future. So look forward to more Phobies content coming from Random's Thoughts. So now, on with the show. What's going on, chat? How's everybody doing? I'm going to have to be a little more reserved for this part of the stream. I think I overdid it a little bit. My throat is a little bit sore. Monochrome, what's good? Masterdarksh, welcome, welcome. So we're going to jump in. We're going to jump in and we'll see how many we get through. I think I'm going to try and only do 10. I know there are multiple people who submitted multiple games, and we'll do at least some of them, but we'll see how many we can get through. So we're jumping in here with Lazy Bones, our hero in blue on the once lore. Now this is actually a loss, so shout out to Lazy Bones putting themselves out there. We don't often get losses, and it is awesome when people submit them so that we can try and help them out, identify what could have gone differently so that you can take a W next time. So the notes here: I fought hard to the very end, but alas, defeat. I blame Morty. Don't blame Morty. Come on. Ooh, we get an early Alistor out of bad guy. This is a level 6 Alistor. We're looking at relatively low stress level overall. I didn't catch that as we were zoning in, but we're going to go through. The once lore is a oft and, in my opinion, justly maligned map. This seems like a mistake. Like, why not cap this point right now? Cat definitely could have taken it. I don't know if this was an arena game and it ran out of time, but we'll see. Regardless, we're getting a 2-2 panic point set up. We're getting a sheep. All right, I'll call this mistake number 1. The sheep, no. Just no. It doesn't matter. Like, even if you connect with the sheep, I assume the thought process here was, well, there's 2 dimensionals. One of them's Alistor. I'll sheep it. No. Because it flies, it's going to go on the spa. It's just not going to end well. So bad guy here is following up with a yoink of their own Octonauty to match our hero's spider. We do get something unique here in a Gargles. That's actually pretty cool. That is pretty hype. We'll have to see how this Gargles plays in. We've seen a number of them. Oh, no. I guess this is okay. So we're getting a 4-1 panic point advantage. So the sheep may be bait here, because if the Octonauty goes in, you can spider the Octonauty, and there's no real easy way to eliminate the spider afterwards. But that is a good way to eliminate the cat. Murderwing comes in to make panic points 3-2, still in favor of our hero, who has banked a 7. Pterodactyl coming down. The aerial armada grows. 3 flying Phobies specifically. But right now, there's not a ton of ways for our hero to eliminate that Alistor, and it will be a threat long-term. There's also a 42-turn game, by the way, chat. So, speaking about the once lore, a lot of people complain about it revolving around yoinks. Obviously, Akira is the talk of the town as of late and is problematic. One other major complaint that I agree with for this map is it's super stalematey. It's just not reasonable to invade. And maybe the map improves once we have more flyers, because then you could possibly go with a literally all-flying team, and then it's like, hey, your yoinks mean nothing other than generally getting yoinked. It's not an immediate kill. Your opponent still would then have to fill out the rest of their forces. Attractor is still outsmartable. Akira is just a free win. Yes and no. I mean, on this map in particular, it's worse than normal. But we did see a number of Akira losses throughout Fright Night, which was, truth be told, shocking. On one floor in particular, yeah, Attractor's still pretty bad for most people. Like, it's still really dangerous. But as far as this game goes, we're getting Honey Bear. Don't hate it. Honey Bear can either slide over here, turn off this panic point where the murder wing is. It could try and do this one. 1, 2, 3, although I wouldn't recommend over here because it's probably going to get yoinked. But we do get a Flesh Crawler, which is really abnormal. Now, the Flesh Crawler is getting kind of ballsy here. It's actually coming all the way up in order to threaten taking this panic point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 phobies for our hero here. They don't really have a great way to fend off the Flesh Crawler. This is reasonable, I guess, until... Okay, the sheep is going to come back, because I was going to say it could get sniped here. But, again, if it got sniped, then the spider trades with the Octonauty. Maybe you want that, maybe you don't. The panic point advantage is in favor of our hero as we're nearing the halfway point of this game. Akira can be countered, but the number is really low and probably not phobies everyone has. I think Akira is more a strategy than tactics thing, and by that I mean, yeah, you don't want to line up specific phobies against it, depending on the map. But, as far as the once lore goes with Akira, I think Akira as a whole, it's tough to say. The once lore, I think, is a problematic map. I think that Akira is also a problematic phobie. Now, time will tell if we learn how to improve the scenario with that. I like this Gargles play. Are we going to snipe this jar? Wait, what? Oh, can't get the jar. Fair. Oh, excuse me. Problem with Akira is you just spam 2 to 3 other pull and you win. You don't even need 2 to 3 other pulls. I mean, even on this map, I don't think you need it. I don't think that's a requirement in order to make Akira problematic. I think Akira is inherently problematic everywhere that it exists. And, I mean, it's an early opinion right now, the once lore aside, because we just don't know right now. Like, not enough people have Akira to really know how problematic it truly is. So this would have been better this turn. I'd have to rewind it, but I think you could have bees here or hit it once, kill the Eternal Knight with the Honey Bear, let that get pulled up, and then put this hit onto the Alistor instead. I don't know if it would have killed it, but this is interesting that it triggered the trap. I didn't know that would happen. The Gargles activating a trap. I mean, it's an obstacle, but it's one that can't be interacted with by your opponent, so that's a little surprising. But it does turn out that it works that way. I don't know about this, puking on this one, but a 4-to-1 versus the 3-to-1 here, we'll see. Obviously, Gargles is toast. There's way too much surrounding it. It woke up in a bad spot. Trap gameplay seems pretty fun in the once lore. It could be. I do want to try more trap games, but I need to get my Baba Yaga leveled up. I think Baba Yaga is a core component. I don't have Poison Ivy. Venus is fine. Obviously, Unicorn's very strong, but trying to get both set up as one movers, and it just makes life very challenging. So we get a Mr. Tramples as the final phobie. I don't agree with that one. I also don't agree with this reposition from the Honey Bear. This just puts... Well, the Honey Bear was in range anyway, but I'm not sure why it was here. at all. Like, it doesn't need to be here. Sheep is getting clobbered here. Morty with the snipe. Panic point advantage, bad guy. So I don't hate the honey bear idea. I just don't think it needs to be over here. It needs to be up here and turn off the spa and the panic point. Plus, this Alistor is just never going to die. This Alistor is unfortunately never going to die. Well, excuse me. After streaming this morning, I'm super tired, even more than usual. A not quite dead... Okay, you're going to kill it. I was going to say, if you leave that flesh crawler alive, you're going to have a bad day. 7 keys down for bad guy. A beat-up team here. I think the pterodactyl needed to be in position to threaten the jar if it came in, as it did. Rather than get this one random shot here. Because guess what? Down goes pterodactyl. So 7 keys trade out, essentially. 7 for each side. Panic point advantage returns to our hero. Is this finally going to be a dead Akira? Or Alistor, rather? It is. Bad news is that's a very, very damaged honey bear. So that's not long for this world. And it's going to be these 4 phobies against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Including a trap phobie, including a Morty, and of course a Yoink and Octonauty. Oh, I am wiped out, chat. A lot of streaming today. A lot of streaming today. Panic point advantage returns to bad guy. We should have the bull rush up again. 682 damage being threatened. 4 keys still available for bad guy, though. That's a little scary. Something's going to die over here. It's just a question of what. Probably the spider, right? It's actually going to be the Jin Sting. And our hero here is getting picked apart. There were a couple things, such as that Jin Sting, that just felt like they were somewhat lazily out of position. Morty on the stim is a problem. $1,100 and change. Who needs heart attack? You don't need high fives or squiggles. You can just drop a Morty on the stem and go to town. Does not feel good if you're our hero. Our hero needs to dive, but there's really just no way for them to do that. Bad guy's heart is at 2k health. I mean, there's not literally no way to do it, but it is going to be a challenge for a variety of reasons. I guess. So, what should have happened here? No, it couldn't reach. Never mind. I was going to say Spider should yoink the sheep, because the sheep is going to connect here. But without a panic point advantage, you're at 2k health. Your opponent, they're actually at the same amount of health, right? 2030, 2035, close enough. You just don't have enough damage. Presumably, this Murder Wing just dies. Yep. And the 1,200 damage from our Bull Rusher is not going to do enough. But GG. Well played, Lazy Bones. I think there's a few different things that could get cleaned up there. I'm putting the phobie choices aside for a moment. But I think that there are a few different things that could have been cleaned up just from a positional standpoint, from a strategic standpoint that would have allowed you to take this game. It definitely was somewhat of an uphill battle due to certain elements, but I think you could have taken that game. I think that was eminently winnable. But again, shout out for submitting a loss, because everybody always likes to get their name in highlights, but it's tough to put yourself out there in these sort of efforts. But GG. Zoning in here with HighROI. We're back on the Once lore. I believe we've not done a game review, game breakdown for HighROI before. It's right up there with The Economy as a name. But the notes here was supposed to be a dimensional event farm game. It actually ended up trying to win. The way I kill Contortio is funny. Dimensional pull PTSD. And I never realized I threw the Baba Yaga into the hole with my Hevo 2.0. All right, let's see what happens in this one. So we can obviously see the dimensional farm going on at the start of this. I saw a double Charon MVP. Was that for this game, Masterdarksh, or a different one that was on the profile? I imagine it would be this game for reasons. We did actually see some interesting Charon play in Fright Night, which is pretty cool. So we do have a long-ish game, 34 turns, but definitely not the longest games we've seen on the Once lore. As mentioned earlier, the Once lore, there's just like a lot of problems with this map, in my opinion. I'm not a fan of this map. If we had the ability to have the entire map pool available for Fright Night, for example, the Once lore would never appear. It just... one of the reasons I'm collecting map statistics is if we ever get that ability, and I'd like to believe that the devs would eventually allow frenemies to be able to choose any map to play on, hence how we would run Fright Night. I'm trying to see what maps are frequently banned, what maps are frequently chosen, that sort of thing. For other reasons as well, but also for the purpose of if we built custom map pools for these sort of events, what maps should or should not be included. And I can tell you right now, the Once lore would not be in it. Just would not. Aside from the fact that people hate it, aside from the fact that it seems to be hell-bent on, oh, well, specific phobies dominate the map, namely ultra rares or high stress level phobies. The other challenge is that this map often just takes 1,000 years. Even with the presence of phobies like that. Finally, a level up for Baba Ha. Nice, scrats. So here's Charon numero uno. We did get a Graylien coming down, and of course Grimes, who we haven't seen in a very, very long time. We haven't seen Grimes in a very long time, honestly, chat. This is a level 6 Grimes, so not exactly the largest Grimes we've ever seen, but still something. There's the matching Charon. This match is going to get very dumb very quickly. Graylien repositioning, sure. Baba haha. This is one of those weird ones where I don't really know exactly what comments to make, because clearly, as mentioned in the notes, it started out as a particular farm event. So as a result, it's like, are both players on the same page that this is actually becoming a game now? I don't know, we'll see. At this point, I like to believe that Bad Guy would have figured out, hey, my opponent is playing for realsies. They dropped a Hevo 2.0 on the board. They probably mean business at this point. DT, welcome. I only go for 2 minutes and everything sounds more interesting. So we do get a little trap action going down. Kind of a lazy trap position here, but it is what it is. I wonder how much the Charon's going to turn off, but at this point, both players have either farmed enough points or have said that whatever, we're going for it. We're playing for the win now. The problem with this trap is that it's going to do nothing. The boom is going to go in there, and it's... Really? I guess there was an error there in thinking that the Contortio was dimensional? Question mark? I don't really understand what that Charon was doing. I assume it was, you know, I forgot it wasn't dimensional. He's back for more for now. We'll see how many games we can get through, because I am super beat. Like, I'm tired. I know it sounds crazy just sitting on my ass casting games, but running the event and casting the games, and then also it messed up my eating schedule, so I'm pretty wiped out right now. Plus, I'm just tired anyway. So, as a result of being down panic points for so long, 4,500, about half health, but again, big map. Enormous amount of time. By the way, apparently Smiley played Edgar Allan during the tournament. Yep, we saw Edgar Allan a couple times. By the moment he didn't steal my spotlight as the Edgar Allan enjoyer, I'm okay with it. Well, you have to go back and watch, because, yeah, there were some exciting Edgar Allan plays, I'm not going to lie. Trading out 3 keys for 1 keys, not exactly ideal. More and more traps going down, covering the center point. We do get a free yoink here onto that Cyclops. Challenge, of course, being that the Graylien could get a swap here. But if the Graylien swaps, it's probably going to get blown up as well. I guess it's fine. This is fine, I think. The heart looks like it's under way more pressure than it actually is. Alright, we get a little Miss Moffat counter from Moffat. 3 keys remaining for bad guy, only 1 for our hero here. So we are waiting for a big, juicy Hevo 2.0 boop, as evidence from the notes. We'll see when that materializes. I think I know when it's coming, assuming this boops the way I think it does. But we're going to find out. I think it's now. Yep. Boop. Bye-bye, Baba Haha. I do like this heads-up Charon play, turning off what would the assumed trap location, because it was probably a safe bet based on past precedent. And then this invade is arguably uncontestable. Now, the bad news here is this spider can just yoink the Hevo. So you traded Hevo for the Baba Haha. But you trade... You're going to get their spider? The question is, can you pressure the Graylien? But your opponent is out of keys. So while you're trading some valuable resources here, it's not as though your opponent can just replenish. So Hevo 2.0 for Spider and Baba Yaga. Is that worth it? It seems pretty good. We get a Muffin who's going to presumably heal up probably the Charon, because that Grimes has got to be dead. There's just no world in which it's not. Grimes doling out 460 damage thanks to dimensional damage. But our hero has a panic point advantage. And should be able to... I mean, they're going to stabilize life total, although we know there's not that many turns left, so it's just a matter of eliminating the remaining Phobies. Which they should be able to, from this position. Dead Stabby. This is interesting with the body block, because this should have Fireball backup, but I guess it doesn't matter at this point. Yep, Mud blocks the trap activations. Turns off lava, turns off spas, turns off traps, turns off stims. If it's on the ground, it's deactivated. So you get the big stim-buffed fireball here, the shish kebab. Wow, still not a dead spider. Actually requires the hit here from Thunder Rocks. You don't see a takedown from Thunder Rocks very often, but our hero is all up on bad guy. Bad guy doesn't have many phobies, nor do they have very many phobies with health. Takedown number 1. Soon to be takedown number 2. And just like that, our hero took control of the game. Well played. Snowball on the stem can't quite get it done. We get a little extra action from our hero here. GG, well played. From Dimensionals into regular game, we actually witnessed a one-slur map that wasn't solely based around Akira. Who knew? Zona in here on Lights Out with our hero, Rossarius. I don't believe he lived. Sounds like somebody was playing with fire and managed to walk away unburned. Well, mostly unburned. Somewhat singed, we'll say. We'll see how this plays out. Neither player opening up with Gravedigger, a common opener, but we did witness some unique openers from different players on Lights Out throughout Fright Night 6. I should make a tier list of attack animations, but I'm simply too lazy to do so. That would be interesting. That's actually not a bad idea. Speaking of Snowball, someone sacked theirs. I was able to one-shot it with a Matic Gin Sting on a stim. Ouch. Ouch down population them, bro. So we get the Gravediggers showing up late to the map. I don't quite understand. I guess it's fine getting the Cassowary and the Unicorn online first. That's not that significant of a difference, I guess. You gotta excuse me, chat. I'm beat. Tomorrow's variety ought to be interesting. So this was not necessary. One thing you could have done, although, yeah, because they would have been the same amount of actions. One thing you could have done is you walk in front with the Gravedigger to prevent the Unicorn from getting pulled forward. That way you could sink those 3 keys into something else or bank them. Not that Jar is bad, but it's not necessarily what you want or need to do. I'm starting to like Lights Out. I just didn't have the strat to come out to play it, like Detention. I don't like this map. It's just obnoxious. But, like I said, there were some definitely cool plays during Fright Night. I'm going to have to review these games again as I'm editing to see, you know, which ones were... What are things I could take away from my own personal playbook kind of thing. I was about to say, ooh, we're not getting the block, we're getting the break. That allows a quick takedown on this Snowball. You love to see it. Feels like Bad Guy was being a little bit lazy here. And honestly, that's a big deal. A lot of mobility is gone. A big chunk of damage is gone. You're trading up from a key perspective. That seems like a waste. I know people love to try and get creep to connect with undeads, but in this case, the Gravedigger does not naturally die unless these are like there's a wild level disparity. This is one level higher. I'm not going to bother counting it up because we'll find out anyway. But often these Gravediggers will get poisoned and then it doesn't matter. Dead creep. Dead creep. Creepy boy goes down. Softening up of the Ted. Our hero's Gravedigger does dive in deep. 6 keys banked for Bad Guy. 6 for our hero, both with 9 keys remaining. Do you really want to do that, Bad Guy? I mean, the Gravedigger's dead. Okay, the Unicorn does die. So that seems less than ideal. The Gravedigger invade seemed to be an overextension, but our hero does get to soften up this Klepto a little bit until you realize that they could dive and snipe the Jar. That would then cause their Jar to die. Actually, it wouldn't necessarily cause their jar to die because they can move to this position. I was thinking for a second they had to move where the trap is, but that's not true. This is not looking great for our hero. Not gonna lie. So one of our hero's traps went off here. Of course, these traps belong to bad guy. Final phobie from our hero is Murder Wing. Get an easy kill here. Take down the jar. Take down Gravedigger? Not quite. That's a little problematic. Triple panic point advantage for bad guy. Is Jin... This must be where... I can't believe Jin Sting lived. $47 health, chat, but no jar, no snowball available. I don't think that's true, DT. I think level 1 Creep does 250 poison damage for 4 turns, and level 1 Gravedigger has 1100 health. The comment was Gravedigger will die from Creep if it doesn't leech at all at equal levels. I'm pretty sure it's 250 and 1100. I'd have to double check, but... Yeah, look at this Jin Sting. Look at that guy. Early candidate for a good screenshot for the thumbnail. I want to say, like, I'm powering up, but I'm being up just sounds weird. Like, that doesn't have the same ring to it. Down goes Klepto. We're going to get a big... Oh no, bad guy. Only these two remaining. Oh, you're right. It does the 250 on the initial hit. That's fair. The Creep Gravedigger interaction. You're right. There is another 250 on there that I wasn't accounting for. In my head, when I said 4, for some reason I was thinking it's only a 3-turn thing, and I was counting the 4th as the damage, but... Klepto retreating here definitely makes sense. This is going to be a weird dance as we watch the end of this. Bad guy's just going for it, I guess, on the assumption that can't quite kill it in time, but with no additional damage from the panic points, you're just not quite going to get there. Unless this is really, really low. I mean, this is AoE, so it's not like this is not in danger. 569 health. But in fact, Klepto does manage to take it down. GG, got him. Well played. Well played. It was looking messy, but sometimes you just live. Well done. We're back on the once lore. Masterdarksh this time. Hero in the blue trunks. 27 turns. The once lore games are getting shorter as we progressed. But the notes here are the most vicious set of phobies I can drop on the once lore. My enemies couldn't do anything. He loses phobies one by one until he loses. All right, let's see. Interesting with the early Boomer. I'm still not a huge fan of Boomer. I'm still not a huge fan of Boomer. Wait, is Gravedigger 1100 health or is it 1300 health at level 1? I am correct that it's 1100 health, right? So then it would die in this whole creep discussion because I see chat still talking about it. We're getting fairly standard openers here. You know, snowballs, gravediggers, murder wing. The boomer, again, is a little weird, but... This is fine, I guess. But I feel like orange player ends up on the worse end of this, because this snowball can ultimately just heal. And here comes a tractor. Everybody's favorite. 1100 health? Okay, cool. For some reason, I was second-guessing myself. I'm like, wait a minute, does it actually have 1,300? Because then that would change the whole scenario, but... Here's the root of the problem. Yeah, I mean, a tractor is just dumb. I am torn about a tractor because here's the thing. A tractor's positive quality is that it is a stalemate breaker. Whether you use the ability or not, your opponent has to respect it, or they just get blown out, right? They can't just go, well, you'll a tractor pull me and it'll work out fine. Odds are that's not true. Odds are you're going to die. And in a horrible, horrible way, right? So the thing is, a tractor is not worthless or useless. And I think I see where the beginning of the end is going to happen here for bad guy. I get the sense they're going to get greedy about this Gravedigger, but we'll see. The thing is, I think that with appropriate and proper map design, it is possible to try and alleviate the problems of stalemates. Like, just force people to interact, and then that way they don't have to try and force a tractor onto the board. Now, is that better or worse? I'm not sure. Did this snowball only attack once? I feel like the snowball only attacked once. What? Okay. Now I feel better. Because I'm watching this attractor, waiting for this spider to just send it to the nether realm. And then Gargle showed up. I'm staring at this, and that's why I was quiet for a second, because I'm just watching it. So 2 Phobies down, Snowball and Murderwing. Ted gets a free shot onto a tractor here, but who cares? Clearly, the Phobie quality is in favor of our hero, although bad guy stuff isn't completely worthless. If you fight me on the once lore, the goal is not to break my heart, it's to kill a tractor without too much backfire, and every time my opponent loses this objective, unless they have a Kira. I think the counter to this plan is to try and do the Urk Honey Bear plan, because a tractor can't reach an appropriately positioned Honey Bear. So you are required to then do some weird stuff to try and make it happen. But in this case, you're just... I don't know that it has anything to do with necessarily... Like, yes, a tractor factors into this, and a tractor obviously influenced your opponent, but it just kind of feels like you're picking them apart. And past the first... Like, how much of an advantage are you at this stage? Now that's a hell of a thumbnail. Get a little Firkin Leaper car in action. Look at how enormous the pot of gold is. But it's Spider, Snowball, Murderwing, Ted. Or boom. Like... I mean, they're gonna get Gargles here. Probably not in a way that is a good idea. But it definitely feels as though bad guy's kind of throwing things away. We get a Repeller for all you Repeller fans out there. I know there are plenty of Repeller fans. I struggle to see why, personally, but I know they exist. You're like the M&Ms and Santa Claus. They do exist. Mother. Kind of rubbing it in with the yoinks here. Got a long cooldown on that Firkin. Panic point advantage is going to go briefly in favor of bad guy, and then bad things are going to happen. Chat, I kind of wish burrows could go through abyss tiles. I understand why they can't, but it kind of sucks that they can't. It realistically then, even if they could, they would still be differentiated from flying units, because flying units can occupy a obstacle tile can occupy an abyss tile, but burrows could not. I feel as though this is less a concession to game mechanics and more a concession to lore. As in, these are supposed to be bottomless pits, the abyss tiles. So therefore, you can't burrow under them, they're bottomless. Which, I mean, I get it, but I don't know. Another dead without backfire? Yeah, I mean, there's going to be several more. So by now, both of these should be live, and I imagine terrible things are going to happen to bad guy here. 4-1 panic point advantage, though, and our hero has sealed themselves off. Until they do that. LOL! Oh my god. What? Alright, that one's a little sus. This one feels like you're toying with them. That didn't even kill the cat! I mean, I guess that... Well, no, because if this came up and booped... Like, this didn't have to be here. Zero keys for both players. Ugh. Here comes the smother mother. There goes Firkin. Cooked leprechaun. Apparently a phobie delicacy. There's really not much bad guy can do here. Given the advantage that our hero was able to manifest earlier in this game, they can just play it patiently. I mean, this smother mother's taking a beating, but it can hit and walk away, maybe even sit on this stem and be fine. But instead, we're going to get the yoink here. That's obviously going to yield some more dead phobies. This just says it all, right? This is just saying scoreboard. Admittedly, our hero does need to do something about the panic points soon. But I don't think there's any concern about being unable to recapture these. You can clearly get this to stem the bleeding. You might even be able to get this to flip them the other way. There's really no threat here at all. Frying up some moly bully here. Obviously, these two could threaten the jar and recapping this point, so Repeller and the jar are going to have to retreat or find something else to do. This is a cute play by bad guy, finishing off the obstacle in order to boop Snowball out of there. Moly Bully occupying the stem. I mean, that's a thing. It's not going to be a thing for very long because that Moly Bully's about to get bopped. Just getting bodied there. I assume we're going to see a yoink here to kill the jar. Oh, combination with the Klepto, but you get the point. And there was the lonely Repeller. And GG. Well played, Master Dark. Well played. Not bad. Yeah, you can't. You'd have to move. But then you couldn't yoink because of the line of sight. Smother Mother does him in. GG. Well done. Chat, we have another newcomer to at least the game breakdowns in Karst. So Karst here, Karstocles is recently gotten more fame, obviously very well known within the Phobies community, but I was talking about the suggestions that Karst was making for changes to maps, or at least some of them. Karst has a ton of suggestions for literally all the maps. If you want to see that video, check it out on the channel. Oh, by the way, likes and subscribes. And you can check the links in the description for the Random Slots Discord, Bright Night, Tiny Terrors, etc., as well as, of course, the live stream link. But the notes here are a good match show how Phobies generally considered bad can be used properly to beat boss. Alistor MVP. Alistor post-nerf has felt way more fair. Like, I mean, we saw an Alistor in some of the games earlier tonight. But Alistor is not a common phobie in the way it was before. It's just not, right? So this is somewhat of a unique opener from Karst. Bad guy here. Shout out to the Sasquatch avatar. But Alistor just doesn't... The damage output isn't what it used to be, and I think it did deserve the nerf. Because otherwise, it was verging on unkillable. Sorry, I thought I saw another spider on the ceiling, and it was going to drop down onto my face like happened last year. It happened twice, chat, where I was streaming, and the spider, like, tried to drop onto my face. Like, that is undesirable. What? I don't know what that statement means, Masterdarksh. So in the meantime, 2-1 panic point advantage. Karst has been on the back foot for the majority of this. We do get the takedown here onto the snowball. Seemingly a freebie kill here. Level 18 Murder Wing. Level 15 Murder Wing. I mean, this Murder Wing can die. No, it can't. This Murder Wing actually can't die right now. Brutal. Brutal. That being said, there are other ways to manifest some takedowns here to try and make up for the loss of the snowball, but definitely at a disadvantage. Plus, of course, triple panic point advantage. Bad guy. It is not unlikely bad guy based on the play pattern is going to try and come in here, but I could see them backing off as well. Karst feeling a little bit of pressure, kind of spamming Phobies here in order to retake some of these points. Small map, triple panic point advantage. You can't sustain that for very long. What if certain Phobies, if you got an avatar for free by getting the phobie that represents it? I don't dislike that idea. I don't think they would do that. Because that is one of the few things, aside from phobie packs, that they sell. I mean, you could throw it in the suggestion box in the main Discord. I think that would be kind of cool. They did have the Jill and Ted promotion thing during one of the events, so maybe they could do it at certain points. Like, if you open this phobie during this event, you get their associated avatar or something. Problem is, you get a lot of people complaining, well, I already got the phobie, what do I do? Why do I miss out? Blah, blah, blah. So it looks like we're going to have a dead Murder Wing. Grimes came in. I'm afraid to look at this Grimes. Level 17 Grimes. 888. A nice round number. And then kaboom! Karst with 8 keys banked, though. On the back foot, but with 8 keys. I don't know that this creep kills it with poison. This is also a wild... Like, look at this. This makes them... I think Luffy was saying it earlier, if you had Paper Mario effects. Like, look at this Grimes. Tell me that doesn't look like a Paper Mario sprite. This is actually just really cool. Like, this just looks awesome. Anyway, I was checking this. This will die level 18 to level 16. All right, they're close enough. Down goes Cassowary, and here comes Boss. The big boss man coming down. By the way, 37 turns on this map. Didn't notice that earlier. Everybody's submitting the marathon games again. 6 keys remaining for bad guy, only 3 for our hero here. Little concerning, especially these phobies are going to be able to cap this point if they want it. We get a bad omen and a tickles to round out the forces of Karst. Given the notes, I think we know what's going to make an appearance here from bad guy. Yep, Alistor. So to me, Alistor is one of several downhill phobies, where they are bully phobies. They are, I'm in a winning position, and these seal the deal, as compared to win more phobies. If you're not familiar with the term win more, it's a term from card games where cards will look powerful. They'll look strong. They'll look like, hey, this is such a great effect, I want to use it. But it turns out that when you play them, they don't actually help you go from a losing position to a winning position. They're only good when you're already winning. And they may not necessarily guarantee that. To me, a downhill phobie is close to that, but not quite, where Alistor is one of those phobies that, due to the life leech, just makes your opponent's life so difficult to try and kill it that you can pressure them an enormous amount and thereby prevent your opponent from taking a win. All right, this might have to be the thumbnail, chat. We got the superhero jump from boss. Bad Omen sounds really strong for a 2-key. I think Bad Omen's one of the best 2 keys, but we haven't seen it that much because it's an ultra rare. So we get a big ol' you're fired here. Kaboom is way, way out of position, but it doesn't actually yield a takedown here, and this boss might just die. 2400, 11, 21. No, it won't die. Things aren't in range. How many contenders will we have for thumbnail? I don't know. Right now, it's growing. So boss is in range to try and dive this Alistor, but it's healthy enough that it's not worth it. We can get the Bad Omen power down here. I like that. Makes sense. But there isn't quite enough damage to really threaten this stabby yet, because the boss had to reposition. But the panic point advantage is now in favor of our hero. And Alistor, as mentioned before, is just lingering. Look at this. This Alistor is almost full health again. Didn't even need to occupy the healing spa. Level 16 Alistor over 550, admittedly 551 health. Or damage. That's a lot of life leech. It is exceptionally difficult to kill this thing. Now the good news is, for our hero, that stabby will die to just plain fire damage. I do like the retreat here. This will cover this panic point. You can, of course, dive back in with the boss. I was kind of expecting the Alistor to come down here, but damage instead goes down onto the boss, and bad guy's going to try and bully our hero out of this side of the map. So Alistor is one of those good on paper kind of cards. Well, Alistor used to be way more impressive because it had its damage nerfed last summer. In one of the 2 balance patches that have happened in Phobies, Alistor had its damage nerfed in one of them. And since then, it's gotten way less play. It used to be like a terror. But the thing is that Alistor, I don't think, is bad. Is it weaker than before? Absolutely. I mean, it was nerfed. The numbers are just worse than they originally were, so of course it's worse. I mean, I guess in some weird scenario where you don't want to kill a dimensional so it dies to fire, doing less damage is better, I guess. But you get the idea. But the point is, I mean, look at this Alistor. It is full health. Karst couldn't leave the boss on the healing spot to buy time because 990 health on your heart. Alistor served most as pressured in the beginning of the match, can be horrible to end in the fight at the end of the match. I think it's the opposite. I think Alistor is not as good in the beginning and is a terror at the end. The less phobies your opponent has, now admittedly that could be the beginning of the game, I get it. The less phobies your opponent has access to, the better Alistor is, because you have to kill Alistor in a single turn. Boom. Not the most exciting kaboom, but we have, of course, watched Onda games before. But Alistor is great when your opponent has not, like, there's just no world in which bad guy will allow Karst to deal enough damage to kill the Alistor in a single turn. It's just not going to happen, right? Certainly not at this stage. I mean, look at this. Look at how much it's healing. Remember, it's 100% life leech. It's healing over 900 damage, 900 health a hit. Grimes and Alistor. Seems okay. So here's the other thing. Both of these phobies are incredibly mobile. You have Burrow, which people forget about on Grimes. I know Akune has been high on the Burrow play and line on a lot of phobies as of late. But Alistor is flying. You can present a lot of threats, and as we do see, shout out to Karst for sending in a loss. But GG, bad guy, taking it down. All right, Renamon, Xylo, let's do it. Wait, Xylo? This must have been an async game. Xylo's long gone, right? Is it? That'll teach you not to use Beauty in Hevo 3.0, even though it was a close match. Interesting. All right, let's see. Let's see. These are very interesting openers from both players. Bank to 8 from our hero. Bank to 10 from bad guy. Ooh, we get a little Fire Ant action. You always play async? Okay, fair. Little cowbell going on as well. Both players banking. Well, maybe not as much here with Renamon, but... there is the aforementioned Hevo 3.0. It's a very early Hevo 3.0. I'm going to go out on a limb and say bad guy just got this phobie recently. It's level 12, so maybe not. I'm trying... every time I see Fire Ant, I'm trying to find the ant. Because I don't see it. It just looks like a hairball. Fire Ant assuming the position. We get the spider, which is a commonplace phobie on this map. Notably, neither player are going for terror forms. At least not yet. We'll see if they materialize. But the counter spider coming out, big shock, right? That's how this map plays out. The advantage here, of course, is in bad guys' favor for the time being, simply because they're going to be able to preserve their 1 key. Renamon can replace, but you're going to end up swapping out a bunch of 1 keys through different efforts here. Now, that's a unique trap location. You could obviously say, hey, just play it on the center point, but that's not necessarily valuable. The advantage here of take... what? Why did this happen? I don't... like... why? Even if there wasn't a trap there, this is over 500 damage a hit. Well, I guess it's like 900 and change, maybe 1,000. I'm not counting it up. 800, because you're only going to get the fire once, so 900 and change. That's still half your health. That's not counting this spider could come up here and yoink your spider down. And of course, your opponent has 10 keys and they can reach you with regular foot. Like, they don't even need a 3-ranger. I got nothing. But despite that invade, the panic point advantage is still in favor of our hero. That guy didn't even move the cat to claim this point. Cat is going to snipe the spider. A tractor comes out. Chat, I don't know what's happening. Why did that spider just die? Like, I don't understand why that was necessary. Beauty. So we have another lake of fire here temporarily. But we have a Yeti. That's actually pretty cool. The question is, how are you going to get the Yeti to connect with the Hevo? Because that's going to be important. You need the Yeti to connect with the Hevo, or otherwise Hevo can thaw whatever it happens to be. If it's in range, of course. Get some Hevo damage going down. Going to get some beauty hits here. Regular beauty hit, no beam. But that fire ant is still very healthy. Like, what? What is bad guy doing? Dying, I guess. Get the yoink here. Cat goes down. This is probably a dead pterodactyl. It's just a question of how it dies. I was going to say, it should be a 1 key. Whatever goes here will end up dying due to splash. But now that the Hevo has split focus here, there is the chance that, hey, you can freeze this safely and it's not going to get thawed, especially with the heads-up creep play here in order to poison this beauty. 465 damage a turn, only 16, a little under 1,700 health, level 14 beauty. I like the Yeti play. I don't know if it's actually that good here. This is a dead fire ant. And we get a Blondie. I don't know about that one, bad guy. I don't know about that one. Then again, a lot of their decisions have been suspect regardless, so. So that's a dead beauty. It got a single hit. 5 keys remaining for each player. Beauty goes down. Ray Chargel's the final phobie for our hero. And this Hevo's beat up too because it's been tanking this fire the whole time. Sure. Stairmaster, the final phobie. Okay. Now, admittedly, Renamon is under some pressure here. But bad guys electing to not go after the heart, get a 4-to-1 panic point advantage, and invade on Yeti and Ray Chargels with a heavily damaged Hevo. I don't know. Don't even need the extra damage here. You get the yoink. You get the jar kill. And then you get 3 hits onto this Stairmaster. Not quite enough to do it in, at least this turn. But yeah, I'm simply left scratching my head. It was very close, despite all of that. 500 health on the heart. Like, that was really close. But Renamon, honestly, kind of dominating that game. GG. All right. Our hero here is Derelicht. I'll explain that in a second. Long-time viewer, first-time submitter, just a show of big stress level gapping. All right, so we're here on Coulrophobia. Our hero here is Derelicht, or as I was saying, Derelicht. Our hero here may or may not be a fan of Zoolander. I don't know, but Just throwing it out there. Maybe. Zoolander fans out there, if you know, you know. So anyway, we do have a unique opener here on Coulrophobia. Notably, this map has been oft maligned, and in my opinion, also justly, for being terrible. Part of the reason for that is you can just kind of march a turret across the top or the bottom of the map and then dominate a lot of the position. So it's cool to see that we're not getting that, because that is a exceptionally boring setup. However, the early Eternal Night goes down with a key disadvantage to our hero. Cat able to take it down. Now, the cat won't be there for very long for obvious reasons. And we're getting an early trap instead of reclaiming the point. I mean, that kind of makes sense, because if you try to reclaim the point, you're going to get shelled by the jar and softened up. Bad guys spamming out some 1 keys of their own, presumably to recap and, of course, take this one. The Gesundheit is very interesting out of our hero. Now, let's see how big the level gap is here. Level 2? All right, this level gap isn't too bad so far. 4, 3. This is super low stress level game, chat. This is kind of cool. These are always fun games. These are always fun games, seeing the lower stress levels, because the wackiness always ensues. Now we get a boomer out of our hero here. I'm going to keep repeating it. I don't like boomer. Boomer's fine. But I don't like boomer unless there's an express purpose for boomer. Like, you need it to have the HP because it's the largest option you have. You need it to have stasis so that you can try and fight a yoink or a boop or something. But in most cases, I feel like you're better off with a phobie that can actually fight. You know what I mean? Interesting. So you knew... Our hero would have known that there's no trap where the cowbell is now because the boomer was there. Would have already activated it. So I think you have to assume that the trap is on the panic point, so then why not send in the cowbell? Because the cowbell could tank it, and then you'd be okay. But ultimately, we end up with some dead 1 keys, a really invasive cowbell, oddly enough, and a Clinico to heal the poison ivy. Alright, so we get an Eternal Night as follow-up. Level 4. Oh, this is a level 10 Jin Sting. Okay, so this is a much larger gap in levels than what we were seeing before. But the thing is that this Jin Sting, if it tries to kill this Eternal Night, it's gonna die. Let's just hope our hero does not decide to try and reclaim the panic point with, well, any of the phobies on the board. Notably, as pointed out earlier, turrets on this map, brutal when they get to the stem. You know what's more brutal? Stairmaster. Because that Stairmaster is now pumping out, even at level 3, almost 900 damage a shot. It's going to light up the world of this heart. Alright, Eternal Knight's going in, electing to chop the poison ivy. That's a bold... It's a bold decision, Cotton. Attractor comes out of Bad Guy. Level 5 Attractor. Bad Guy has an oddly high-level Jin Sting for how low level the rest of these phobies seemingly are. They're not, like, really low level, but they're low enough level that it's like, that's weird that the Jin Sting stands out. But our hero here, just annihilating this heart. The jar is in range, the Stairmaster's obviously in range. There's not much life left in Bad Guy. We're gonna have an oof moment here. I like the Murder Wing follow-up. This definitely makes sense. You're already pressuring them so much. Just get after it at this point. And representing threats on both of here, it forces your opponent to split forces. Get the yoink there onto Stairmaster. Stairmaster's gonna go pop. Thanks to the lava, mostly. Get the heal here on the Jin Sting. And Gesundheit goes down. All of a sudden, it's looking pretty dicey for our hero with 1,250 health remaining on the enemy heart. You could go all in here, but I don't think you get there. I think it's better off to try and pick some things off. So this allows the Bowmangles to claim the point, notably not going to get poisoned, but of course going to take a bunch of damage. And we get a Primate. I do like the Primate here. You absolutely need something to body block here, or the jar just croaks to the Gin Sting. This prevents them from just casually recapping this point. But our hero's forces are pretty beat up. 0 keys remaining for either player. Oh no, the jar was low enough that it dies to bees. That's a womp womp moment. Not much you could do about it, although it might have been better to then position differently. This does prevent, or prevented, the Gin Sting from trying to cap that point, though. Get a little meatballage going down in order to snipe the Clinico. 2 panic point advantage, or 1 to 0 panic point advantage once again. A tractor randomly dies to lava because that needed to happen, I guess. I don't think this Primate dies. Nope. The Primate lives. Gin Sting is defending the heart, but guess what, buddy? Get out of here. Lava damage should finish the B-Man off. And then there was just Murder Wing. Does manage to recap points, but 2 Phobies to 1. You got to walk into position. GG. Hero takes the game. Pretty solid gameplay overall. There was that slight skirmish early on relating to the traps where it might have been better to sequence otherwise. But honestly, this was pretty well played. I think Bad Guy made some mistakes that handed the game over, and you capitalized on them, so well done. Alright, our hero here is Redwick, in the orange trunks, zoning into Magnificent. Klepto is a man of money, and I'm a man of coercion. Ooh. Ooh, alright, let's see what you got for us. What do you got for us, Redwick? Got into a fight with Dios. I know that combo was from a while back, but good luck. So I feel like Redwick was fairly, or is fairly, low stress level. We are not, in fact, getting the Moly Bully opener that has been, I guess, vaunted in the last or most recent days. Notably because it can't take this bottom panic point because we got a Murder Wing opener. Droney here sneaking up top. We're not seeing snowballs, which kind of jogged my memory about Redwick potentially being lower stress level. And we get a Repeller. Second Repeller we've seen tonight. The first one didn't do so well for the other player. I imagine the same is going to be here, especially since we've seen a tractor out of our hero. Just bullying everybody. Redwick is stress 31. Makes sense then. Makes sense. Panic point advantage hero. When you get that going second on Magnificent, gotta feel good. Jar probably finishes. Okay, Ray Chargels. I was going to say maybe a Jar finishes this off. Excuse me. That is not, in fact, the case. Notably, Henrietta can't one-shot a Droney. I know. I was surprised, too. Stairmaster. Yeah, we've seen a lot of Stairmasters. We even saw some in Fright Night earlier today. Four to 0 panic point advantage, now a 3 to 1. Now a 3 to 2. Briefly, our hero had a pretty significant lead. But Bad Guy is not going down without a fight. I don't really understand the positioning of the Stairmaster here, truthfully. Like, why is it not here? So you get a Gravedigger break. Which, I mean, that's fine. I don't hate that. But this is going to allow Bad Guy to recap the top. They can't really threaten the center because you can just yoink something. 10 keys banked for bad guy, though. 8 for our hero, and erratic comes down. A little unbearable action. Not my favorite phobia on this map. I think this map is just too big for that. Bad guy, I don't know about this one. This should be a dead Ray Chargels. The only question is, can you get Ray and the Murder Wing? Probably not, but I guess it's not... No, I think you can get both. Yep, Droney and AWOL can finish it off. Now, you probably lose the Droney and AWOL, but, I mean, who cares? Seems okay. Smiley is the follow-up, and honestly, this is kind of cool. You have pressure on bad guy. I mean, they still have the Henrietta, but who cares? Henrietta's like a million miles away, but they have double undead, including one that will splash in erratic. So it's more likely that you just staple Smiley onto whatever your important phobia is, and all right, you want to go in, you're getting the disease. Droney actually lives, by the way. You live with 2 health? 10 health. Droney lives to cap another panic point, and we get a little Wuffalo action, chat. Getting a little Wuffalo action. Willow, new friend. Gotta love Will Wuffalo. I'm excited to get Wuffalo. I'm excited to get this phobia. It's going to be fun. Anybody else reminded of Men in Black when you see... Because it's kind of like you're wearing the Wuffalo suit, right? Kind of like you're wearing the Edgar suit. Zappy gets added to the team. It's mechanical. Also, obviously, has electrical damage to try and fight this attractor. I guess we'll see how this goes. Temptress. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. We've talked about Temptress at length, chat. Not a fan. That's a decent chunk of damage going down on the Smiley, but not enough to make it really care. Look at this erratic. It's basically not in the game. And here's the thing. So you could yoink via a tractor this repeller, kill it with whatever, and then if they come out with Zappy, you just threaten it, or you body block here. I was going to say you just threaten it with Wuffalo Will. Bad guy still has 9 keys left, but I'll be honest, I don't know what they do here. Final phobia from our hero is Fish Tank. Fish Tank. When you're winning this hard, kind of do what you want. This is a pretty solid Klepto hit, but I don't think it matters. Oh, no. The Stairmaster lives. Now, admittedly, all the damage is permanent, but the Smiley actually connects with erratic. Oh, baby! Look at this! What's yours is mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Phobies. 8 Phobies, thanks to that Will Wuffalo. Now, Wuffalo is going to take a beating here. In fact, it's going to spell Wuffalo's demise. But ironically, the stabby effect on Zappy here, I don't remember what it's called. It's literally called counterattack. Is going to hurt bad guy because it's going to damage their phobia. Tempter's going in, sniping the jar. That looks like a dead Zappy, or shortly a dead Zappy. Stairmaster trades out. But at this stage, you have a diseased erratic, unbearable who's like 1,000 miles away, and then this Klepto. Which notably, there's no effect on here for how much longer it lasts. For the Will Wuffalo effect. Is there normally one? I mean, it lasts for 2 turns. Getting the erratic hit here to finish off Smiley makes sense. I don't think it really matters. There's damage on this heart, but that's half health on a big map. That's still a lot of heart health. This Klepto's putting in work. Get a little yoink action here. Down goes erratic. Fish Tank's just going to beat up this unbearable like we're playing stress level 4 all over again. Wuffalo Will's pretty good, chat. Wuffalo Will seems pretty good. Not gonna lie. Some may say it's OP. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. This feels like it's been more than 2 turns of control with this Klepto. But it appropriately gets deposited onto lava. And it suddenly went from having a whole lot of friends to a whole lot of enemies. Bad guy making a valiant effort. But Panic Point advantage is orange. Phobie count advantage is orange. Probably heart health advantage is orange. Down goes Klepto. I don't know why our hero moved here, because you could have zapped it from here and then walked towards this, but it doesn't matter. GG, well played. Seeing some cool Will Wuffalo plays. Stealing... So the cool part about that was the Gravedigger break in order to get at the Klepto. But the Klepto was also just brutal in that scenario. Especially because, again, the Zappy with counterattack ended up hurting its own former allies. So, well done. Well done, Redwick. TCT's our hero in the orange trunks on Red Rum. My first game in Sum of All Fears. Well, congratulations, TCT, if nobody else said it to you so far. But congrats on hitting the big kid table. Time for some Sum of All Fears action. So we're zoning in here, like I said, on Red Rum. We'll have to see how TCT wants to play this. This is one of many turret central maps. But I used to hate this map a lot more than I used to. And I'm coming around on it, kind of like I thought I would. It was just because I would constantly get my ass kicked on this map, is what it boiled down to. Now we're getting similar openers from each player, although Bad Guy was able to sneak out also a unicorn. How is our hero going to respond here? First, probably by picking off this cat. Yep. And Stabby is the other answer. Now, the problem here is that Stabby is in a weird spot, because the one movers don't allow it to close. This seems like it could be a mistake, because this is just a dead... You're going to lose your cassowary here. So what I was kind of expecting was the cat to swing in here and body block, because then that would necessitate killing the cat in order to get down here, and that would have kept your cassowary alive. That being said, this Innocuous does have free reign, can determine whichever one it wants to hit. But you're going to need a Gravedigger or something to break this block to get the Stabby in, because otherwise the Stabby doesn't exist right now. Or you could take the scenic route and try and loop it around the top. No, you're just the only one talking at the moment, Masterdarksh. So the Boomer in this case, I don't hate. I know I was talking trash about it earlier in a variety of other games, but the Boomer here was a body block, which is fine, and soaked up multiple hits. It also displaced this, so that way, you know, there was the opportunity for TCT to blow it up. But of course, we get the Bachelor as the comparable face block, we'll say here. Now, the panic points are even, but bad guys supplemented their forces with Gonzo still having 4 keys available. Our hero investing more aggressively. Well, somewhat more aggressively. Getting a Cowbell and a Murder Wing on the table. Still 4 keys, though. And, of course, bad guy's going to coat the center of the map in traps when available. Moly Bully out of bad guy here. Two to 1 panic point advantage. We're getting a counter trapper in Poison Ivy. Alright. I don't hate it. 6 keys remaining for each player. This is just a... What? So they can't kill this in one shot. They're electing to just burn Gonzo to hit the heart? I don't know about that. Granted, TCT does not really have much in range, and this is a Kaboom. Kaboom has been often thought of as a stabby killer, and it will, in fact, one-shot this stabby. And I mean, stabby could reposition to here, and that might have to be what happens. Now, a jar can pop out. I don't know if TCT has access to Snowball yet. But this is going to be a tough position. I don't know if this conga line is worth it right now. You're certainly going to be able to pressure. But down goes Moly Bully. And the question is, do you want to hang out here if you are bad guy? They apparently do. They think they can just race our hero here. Honestly, I think this stabby should have repositioned here. I don't think they can kill it, especially given that they burned the Gonzo already. Actually, they could have, because this would have been over 1,000. This is almost 2,000 damage, or might actually be 2,000 damage. Ooh, under a lot of pressure here. 1370. Yeah, the Twitch numbers you can't trust. They're almost never correct. Kaboom goes down appropriately. Panic point reclaimed by our hero. We will get a displacement here, so obviously Inoculus is not long for this world. And the body block here by the jar, just to ensure that something catastrophic doesn't happen. Poison Ivy has to eat a trap. 0 keys left for bad guy. And 3 for our hero. So Murder Wing and Inoculus are the targets. Makes sense. That's going to be a dead Inoculus. Bad guy overestimated their forces with this invade. Gonzo is live, but Snowball... Anybody want some popcorn? Not quite enough to finish it off, though. But juicing this doesn't mean anything. It's not going to be enough. I mean, it is enough to get a double takedown here, though. It's only a level 8 Snowball. 41 health remaining. That's kind of brutal. Our hero obviously has to play super defense now, but I don't think there's anything bad guy can do. Triple panic point advantage with a mere 1,370 damage, health remaining on the heart. Gonzo, not good enough at this stage. Not good enough at this stage. Not really much else to say about this, but very well played by TCT, taking control of this game despite the pressure on their heart. I think the positioning, and this is one of the issues I had with Red Rum early on, is that trying to funnel through these choke points, you can corral your opponent, but TCT was able to make the timing work, get around the top of the map to collapse back down and actually defend appropriately. So well done. This is a shorter game. We're zoning into Coulrophobia. Masterdarksh, once again, our hero in the blue trunks this time. You remember that weird game I was talking about last stream? Here it is. All right, let's see how weird this game actually is. Snowball opener met with snowball opener. This is probably going to look similar to Eternal Monday. Yep, we do in fact get a cat to body block here. No spas on this map naturally, though, so that means that the damage on this snowball is going to be retained for a while. But of course, we do get the 2-0 panic point advantage early on. Creep shows up to supplement the forces for bad guy, allowing them to bank to 4. But panic points flip just as easily as that. Manage to go to the other side of the board. I don't quite get the preemptive muffin. Seems a little unnecessary. But I guess it's fine. I don't like this map. I don't like this map either. I don't think this is a good map. We get a creep going down on Muffin. Okay. Maybe not the weirdest thing we've seen, but weird. Stabby follow-up here. That would have been a better creep target, of course. Fireball eliminates said creep. Is the cassowary going to go after the muffin? Stairmaster. So we saw Stairmaster put in a lot of work on this map earlier tonight. Although previously it was in favor of our hero. The conga line is getting assembled. The muffin's just gonna die. No, it's not! Oh my god, chat. That is in fact the weirdest thing I've ever seen in this game. We got a Clinico to heal a muffin. The plays have been made. We can officially say we've seen everything. Other than the highest stress level phobia, I guess. I don't know that that was worth it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, just let it die and make a different phobia. But we're getting the Muffin. The Muffin's putting in work. Muffin ate a creep poison. The Muffin recapped a point. But there is a Stairmaster doing 960 damage a shot with them laser beams all up on your heart. Klepto supplementing the forces. This is looking much more like a standard Coulrophobia game. I feel like I've been calling this game entirely backwards, thinking that orange is our hero when in fact it's blue. And I know I said that in the beginning, but this is how Coulrophobia goes, chat. I don't like this map. Granted, there was a funny play here and something weird happened, but like, nothing happened in this game. The entire game was march Stairmaster across the top, laser beam your heart to death. I don't like this map. I don't like this map, chat. Not a fan. But definitely a cool game, definitely a funny game. Shout out to Masterdarksh. That Muffin was the real hero. I mean, you're not wrong. That Muffin is the hero in our hearts. It was a long night, given how tired I am, thanks to Fright Night. Again, if you're interested in playing in Fright Night, Check out the links in the description, of course, for the live stream. Both of those are down there about the like and subscribe button. Trying to hit those 1,000 subscribers. But you can definitely check out the other video. Hopefully I'll remember to put like the thumbnail or something somewhere here for Fright Night. You can check that out as well, because there were some amazing games from the top 8. But that's going to do it for this particular viewer game breakdown. As always, everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Black Lives Matter.